Hello and welcome to the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. County supervisors authorized plans to select an architect for proposal that would relocate most staff to facilities at Orchard Hill in Washington. The move is another step towards plans to consolidate many county employees at one location, but several issues remain before construction can begin. The county held a work session September 19th to review a feasibility study conducted by Carl A. Nelson, where the company provided a 110-page packet outlining plans for Orchard Hill, courthouse improvements, and relocation to the county engineer's office. While the proposal is moving forward, it is not without controversy. Several issues with the tentative plan arose during or after the work session in mid-September. Department heads have expressed frustration with the preliminary blueprints, which they said lack needed space and facilities such as a training room, auxiliary conference room, and retention storage. Supervisors said they needed to carefully consider the need for every aspect of the project before putting it in the plans. Concerns about conference room access were shared by several department heads. At the other room-specific issues include workspace for visiting state officials, staff restroom, and eventual room for growth. Additionally, the proposed blueprints contained one break room for the entire campus, something department leaders said they opposed. We'd be traveling from building 1 to eat lunch and to warm up our meals and get coffee and fill our water bottles and all of that, Public Health Fiscal Administrator Peggy Wood said. It seems minuscule, but it is an important part of people being in an office situation and being able to get out and get away from their desk. Parking is another concern for the Public Health Department. Clinical Nurse Manager Carrie Fisher said the facility would not facilitate vaccine clinics unless more space was added. Additionally, consultants have used inaccurate numbers to estimate the needs of staff parking. Fedler told the company Washington County would park 40 to 50 staff, but he said he didn't have a source for that number. Some departments, including Public Health, said they had an inconsistent number of people coming into the office on a given day. Carl A. Nelson project manager Ryan Harris said it would take about $100,000 to add another 20 to 30 parking stalls. Al McCauley, an architect for the preliminary study, said there was plenty of time left to fine-tune the plans. In total, the combined budget for the work at Orchard Hill in the county courthouse and the engineer's office range from $6.7 million to nearly $7.5 million, according to the feasibility study. Even those numbers, however, are approximations. Carl A. Nelson's projections were based on a recent day care project of similar size, a model they said was up to date, but not exactly in line with the needs of an administrative building. At any rate, the cost projections are greater than the $4.266 million allocated to the county by the American Rescue Plan Act, which prompted discussions for a new building in the first place. If the county only spends money from its own tax collection, the Board of Supervisors could move forward as they see fit. However, if the extra cash is borrowed, the decision would fall to voters like a bond referendum, according to county officials. That possibility has not been ruled out, according to Richard Young. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has designated 10 Iowa counties as primary natural disaster areas after they spent at least 8 weeks under severe or worse drought conditions, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. The agency said the status qualified producers for federal aid, including emergency loans. A letter from the USDA to the office of Governor Kim Reynolds said, dated September 19th, farmers in eligible counties have 8 months from the date of the declaration to apply for emergency loans. FSA considers such emergency loan application on its own merits, taking into account the extent of production losses on the farm and the security and repayment ability of the operator. The list of primary counties affected include Appanoose, Davis, Henry, Jefferson, Keokuk, Mahaska, Monroe, Van Buren, Wapello, and Washington. Washington County Emergency Management Coordinator Marissa Raisin said the declaration would help farmers impacted by dry conditions. Jeff Cuddeback, a farmer in central Washington County, was not yet sure if he would apply for federal aid, but said he expected it to help many other growers in the area. We are blessed to have some pretty forgiving land. We've got quite a bit of black topsoil, he said. On lighter soils and poorer ground, it's pretty bad from what I'm hearing. I'm sure there are people in Washington County that will use it, especially in the southern half of the county. Cuddeback said the drought's impact was worsened by an unusually cool and wet planting season in the spring. That was the top stories. It is now time for obituaries. Jack E. Hummel of Mount Pleasant passed away on September 27th at the age of 70. Arrangements are pending at Kimsey Funeral Home in Mount Pleasant. Mary Jo Wright of Mount Pleasant passed away on September 27th at the age of 69. Arrangements are pending at Murphy Funeral Home in Mount Pleasant. David E. Van Alst of Stockport passed away on September 26th at the age of 80. A celebration of life will be held from 1 to 5 p.m. October 1st at the Stockport Community Center. Banner Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. David Cochran of Memphis, Missouri passed away on September 17th at the age of 72. A celebration of life will be held at 11 a.m. October 1st at the Payne Funeral Chapel in Memphis. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we will have the weather and sports.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
Welcome back to the Southeast Iowa Union News Break. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. We have some football previews coming up, but first, the weather.
The weather is brought to you by Jacqueline Areola, LLC.
Come visit Jackie in her new location downtown. She is ready to serve Washington and the surrounding community. Another chilly fall morning has given way to another beautiful afternoon. It has been mostly sunny with a high of 68. Tomorrow, temperatures will get back up into the 70s with a high of 71 with clear skies. Looking to the weekend now, both Saturday and Sunday will be sunny with a high of 73, and we will then start a work week with mostly sunny skies and a high of 71. That was the weather. It is now time for sports.
Sports, brought to you by Fairway.
Mid-Prairie has a tough task ahead in the form of undefeated number 2 Williamsburg. Colin Miller leads the Golden Hawks through the air with 340 yards and 4 touchdowns. Brayton Hartley has been great on the ground, rushing for 765 yards and 10 touchdowns. Carson Hodepol leads a stout Williamsburg passing attack with 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. Gable Dayton has 264 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns as well. It's been a tough road for Highland thus far, and on Friday it's another tough test. The Huskies will be looking to get their first win of the season with a victory over Wapello. Sage Hartley Norman leads Highland in passing and rushing. He's thrown for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hartley Norman adds 270 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. Casey Short has 780 passing yards for the Indians. Dylan Woodruff has 227 yards on the ground. Sigourney Keota has been as dominant as they've come since starting the season with 2 big losses. Since then, the Cobras have won 3 straight, which includes victories over 10th-ranked Centerville and number 1 ranked Pella Christian. For Cardinal, it's been a tough start thus far, losing 5 straight, but they've continued to improve each week. The Comets are coming off a tight 22-16 loss to Van Buren County. Cole Clarahan leads the Cobras on the ground with 575 yards and 7 touchdowns. Craig Miller has rushed for 303 yards and a touchdown for Cardinal. That's the top stories for Washington and the surrounding area. I've been your host, Nick Steffens. This is the Southeast Iowa Union News Break, and I will see you next time.